Most people are quietly afraid of one thing: not failure, not rejection, but being average, not famous, not extraordinary, not the best in the room, just normal. And somewhere along the way, society convinced us that average means invisible, insignificant, or even worse, unsuccessful. But what if that idea is completely wrong? What if being average is not a weakness, but actually a powerful mindset that can make life calmer, happier, and strangely more successful? Here's something interesting. Psychologists have found that people who constantly chase being exceptional often experience higher levels of stress and burnout. It makes sense, right? If your standard is, "I must always be extraordinary," then anything less feels like failure. That's like trying to sprint a marathon. Sure, it looks impressive for 5 minutes, and then you collapse dramatically like a character in a soap opera. But average people, people who allow themselves to just be human, often move differently. They focus on consistency, not perfection. They improve slowly, quietly, and steadily. And ironically, those are the people who often end up achieving more over time. Think about it. The strongest habits are not built by intense motivation or sudden bursts of energy. They're built by small, repeatable actions. Reading 10 pages a day sounds average. Saving a little money every month sounds average. Exercising for 20 minutes instead of 2 hours sounds average. But stacked over years, those average actions create extraordinary results. There's also a psychological freedom in accepting that you don't have to be the best at everything. You don't have to be the smartest in every conversation. You don't have to win every argument online, because honestly, nobody ever really wins those anyway. Accepting being average removes a huge amount of pressure, and pressure is often what paralyzes people from even starting. Another thing most people don't realize is that the idea of being above average is mathematically impossible for everyone. If everyone were above average, average wouldn't exist. It's like everyone in a class thinking they're the funniest person. Someone is definitely laughing harder than everyone else, and someone is telling dad jokes. But here's the deeper truth. Being average does not mean being stuck. It means allowing yourself to grow without the constant anxiety of comparison. The moment you stop obsessing over how far ahead others are, you finally have the mental energy to focus on your own progress. Research in positive psychology shows that people who measure success based on personal improvement rather than comparison report higher life satisfaction. In simple terms, when you compete with your past self instead of other people, life becomes a lot lighter, and strangely, a lot more meaningful. And let's be honest about something. Social media has completely distorted our sense of reality. We see highlight reels of people who appear rich, successful, perfectly productive, and somehow still have time to drink green smoothies at sunrise. What we don't see are the struggles, the boring days, the doubts, the failures, the very things that make someone human. The truth is, most lives are built in ordinary moments. Quiet mornings, simple routines, small decisions repeated daily. It's not glamorous, it doesn't go viral, but it's real. And real life, not viral life, is where happiness actually lives. There's also a quiet confidence that comes from accepting yourself as you are. Not in a lazy way, but in a grounded way. You stop performing for approval. You stop chasing validation from people who probably don't even know what they're doing themselves. And you begin to move with intention instead of insecurity. Ironically, many of the people we admire today didn't start as extraordinary. They started as average people who simply kept going when others quit. Consistency, patience, and resilience are not glamorous traits, but they are powerful ones. So maybe the goal in life isn't to be extraordinary every day. Maybe the goal is to be consistent, calm, and quietly improving. Maybe the goal is to build a life that feels good to live, not one that looks impressive to strangers. Because at the end of the day, being average is not the opposite of being successful. Sometimes, it's the foundation of it. And once you truly understand that, something interesting happens. You stop trying to impress everyone. You start focusing on what actually matters. And that's often the moment when your life begins to change in ways that are anything but average.